Good evening. Today is the 29th day of December 2016, and our continuing series, Explorations in Savitri, with our brother Alok. We are still in Book 2, the book of the Traveler of the Worlds. Canto 6, the Kingdoms and Godheads of the Greater Life. And we begin on page 181.
I think second line from above. The she here is life, and very soon we'll see a he here. That is the divine.
This is very interesting because this almost has resonances from book 1,
Yes,
Canto,
yes,
Secret Knowledge,
yes.
Canto
Secret
4.
knowledge. Yes.
Yes.
So it's there. It is between the soul and nature. But all movements of nature, its capacity to give forms, everything is derived by the force of life. Life is the power that works within nature. So you'll see the resonance. Ever she summons, as by a sorcerer's wand, beings and shapes and scenes innumerable, torch bearers of her palms through time and space. So even though Aurobindo is speaking of life in its own realms, but it equally applies to us. If we look at the way life operates within us, all the time it is creating forms stuffed with our wishes, our fantasies, our fancies, our imaginations. It is building lots and lots of forms which come and go. So this is its job. When we are in a dark state, it creates dark forms, monsters for us. When we are in a bright luminous state, it creates bright luminous forms for us. It's his work to give form to that which is formless. And then mind, of course, gives to these forms an idea. So essentially, these are the two things. And I'm reminded of something from Essays on the Gita, where Aurobindo says action and event have no importance in themselves except for the idea force that they represent and that they are here to serve. So each action and event represents an idea force. There is a force behind it and there is an idea behind it. And that is the secret code.
Without it, it would be nothing.
It would be nothing. But we see the action because we are glued to the external scene. But the divine intent sees the idea and the force which is behind it. And this is a challenge even in everyday communication. When two people communicate to each other, we have a body of words which we understand according to the rules of grammar and our own rules of usage of words. What we do not have is the idea and force which we supply. And that is the problem, big challenge of all communication. Because we believe the other person is speaking this with this particular intent because we would speak it with this particular intent. We have no clue about it. And this spoils the whole communication because this is how we fill the gaps.
There is a lot of this now in the world going on about the lack of communication.
It's because of this.
Yeah.
Problem is not the language. Problem is that something within us supplements it. And that we supplement is according to what we contain within us. So when we have a dark consciousness, we see everything with suspicion, everything with fear, everything we see as against us, harming us, hurting us. It can go to an extreme state where people lose their balance. The whole world is against paranoia. Whole world is against them. And when we are in a divine state, as happened, that famous story of mother, that there was a spy who came and the mother welcomed him. And when someone asked that, why did you let a spy stay here? He says, every time he came, his soul came out and took refuge in me. It's the nature of the divine to give refuge. So that's where the difference lies. This world is a long journey through the night. The sun sent planets lamps to light her road. Our reason is the confidant of her thoughts. Our senses are her vibrant witnesses. On one side, this power of life informs the senses and they begin to act according to the life impulse. They obey it. So there are certain contacts, same touch, and we shrink. Why? Because life has reacted like that. There's some other contacts with the same contact and we are very happy because the life impulse. So it becomes the witness. And similarly, the mind becomes the confidant. It gives thoughts to suit what the life force in us demands. Of course, this is not the ultimate truth, but this is the truth of the life world. And when we are in its grip, this is how it operates. The mind will give beautiful justifications, and that those thoughts will come, which will just suit the growing life force or its power, its impulsion within us. There, drawing her signs from things half true, half false. She labors to replace by realized dreams the memory of her lost eternity. Now, look, this is so wonderful. She draws her signs from things half true, half false. So this is true of whenever life labors after an ideal and wants to create it. Perfect love, flawless happiness. So there is a truth in it. It's the dream of mankind. But it wants to build it on a basis of ignorance. So there is a falsehood in it. So it mixes the two. And then we have a wonderful line, realized dreams. These are dreams to which it gives a forms. They have not become facts of earthly life. So they still, and what is she trying to do? The memory of a lost eternity. We have all these stories about, Shangri-La, Lost Horizon, then the Promised Land. I believe Promised Land actually means this, that, we have lost a ground of consciousness where we lived forever with the divine. And we are searching for it. It's promised to us. And it's nowhere. And yet it is somewhere. See, it's a very symbolic story. The promised land is nowhere to be found. Wherever we go in search for it, there are enemies all around. And yet somewhere it exists. And it must become the whole earth. So it's very interesting, this whole thing, memory of a lost eternity. These are her deeds in this huge world ignorance. Till the veil is lifted, till the night is dead. In light or dark, she keeps her tireless search. So, till life moves within the circle of cosmic ignorance, this is how she has to continue. But when the cosmic veil is lifted, which comes much later in Savitri, beautiful lines, one arm half parted the eternal veil.
Yes.
It will come in the world soul. Then life understands what it has missed, what it is seeking, and what can fulfill it. But till then it moves within this circle and tries all means. Time is a road of endless pilgrimage. It tries and tries and tries through aeons of time. And when she has tried and failed, then she is nearest to being successful.
Yes.
Then she has nothing to do but wait upon the truth. It says, I have tried, I cannot. And then truth dawns. But it must try. It's not that, one will sit without trying and says, I cannot. It doesn't work like that.
Perhaps then surrender comes in.
Yes, true surrender.
True surrender.
Time is a road of endless pilgrimage. Why it is a pilgrimage? Every event is, in a certain sense, a pilgrimage, because we are trying to create something of the divine aspect which we miss, whether it be power, strength, peace, love, light. We are trying to create it. It's a pilgrimage. But we don't know where the real temple is. We have plenty of, lookalikes. One mighty passion motives all her works. So, what is the passion behind life? What is it that it is seeking? It's a very good exercise sometimes to look within and see what we are really seeking. Very good exercise. What is my goal? So, most people, when we say, what is your goal? They will rattle out to become a doctor, engineer, this, that. That's not a goal. That's a deed, a job. What is it that within us is struggling to become? So after a thought, some will say, okay, good human being. So then, you can ask what really is meant by a good human being. So then there will be certain definitions. So then you go into the depths of the definition. Then you realize actually you are struggling to realize something which is inbuilt. And those will be the same in everyone. That was the message this time. Yes. The essential unity, these divine qualities are the same at the core, at the center, in the heart of every being. So that is why we are seeking it. Unfortunately, we are seeking it outside and ignorantly, therefore we suffer. So one of the commonest complaints is so and so is not like this. And the beauty is if you ask so and so, he'll say, yes, the other person is not like what I expected. And what we expect is actually within us. So this is the fundamental truth. So what is the passion? Mighty passion? Her eternal lover is her action's cause. We are looking for our eternal lover. It's a marvelous lines. For him she leaped forth from the unseen vasts to move here in a stark, unconscious world.
This is the energy of life.
Yes, life force has come down mightily. For whom? For the sake of the eternal lover. Like the mighty Ganges, running down in torrents. And whom does she love? She loves Shiva. And then Shiva orders her to go further down, and she goes. It's very interesting. In this story, you see a very strange paradox. Not paradox, but compliment. Ganga is regarded as one of the consorts of Shiva in some literature. But she has a job to do, so she doesn't stay there. She goes down. And the action of Shiva and the action of Ganges is, in a certain sense, identical. Both give release. One by cutting the bonds, the other by purifying. They're complementary actions. So, it's almost like Shiva sent her forth, go into the world and do what I have to do. Let them be purified and then they can get release. So, always you'll see this complement even in Varanasi. You have the place of Shiva and you have the Ganges. It's a symbolic thing.
Unfortunately, now we have to purify her.
Yes. It's very interesting, this thing about purifying her. Basically, we have to purify our consciousness.
Exactly.
Because she absorbs.
Our being humanity.
She absorbs. It's very interesting. Recently, since we spoke about it, just one little finding. Very recently, about 2 weeks back, I read a report. I'd been, these reports come and go, but this time I went to the source and they've actually discovered that the water of Ganges continues to remain pure. It is bactericidal, and these many of these germs, they cannot grow in it. Now this they have done in 5 different laboratories across the world to check it.
And what areas of the Ganges?
Different areas. So it has some action, but it doesn't justify, of course, our draining. It's like saying because the divine, Aurobindo gave that answer when Nirod Baran asked him, why does the divine need to take filtered water? He can absorb anything. Sarva Bhoktaram, valid question. So Aurobindo gave a beautiful answer. He said, but why would you want to feed the divine with bacteria and viruses and germs? Just because the divine can absorb it, does it behove us as children? So the purification of the clearing of Ganges must start with a change in our consciousness. Someone whom you regard as your mother, how can you do this to her? It's not because Ganges is stifling and all. Ganges will absorb it. But that's not a cause that we should be blind and indifferent and callous.
Exactly.
Yes, it should be out of love, an act of love. Its acts are her commerce with her hidden guest. It's an interesting commerce. Its acts are her commerce with her hidden guest. His moods she takes for her heart's passionate molds. In beauty, she treasures the sunlight of his smile. Look what happens in human life, in an ideal relationship, where the feminine energy prepares things according to the ideative truth which is inside the masculine energy. I'm not, it can be mother and child. Let me put it like that. And then when she prepares, what does she look for? She doesn't want big praises and all. She just wants a smile. Ah, Mama, this is really good. That's enough. That's the reward. So life is creating forms after forms so that on some he smiles and says, yes, this is it.
Yeah.
So beautiful, so lovely. I'll come for a while and dwell in this. But many others, he doesn't smile, he remains a witness. What a beautiful image of the play between life and her eternal lover. Ashamed of her rich cosmic poverty, she doesn't have the materials. She has lots of things, but not that one thing. I am reminded of a vision of mother, rich cosmic poverty.
Yeah, just thinking of that. Yeah.
A mother is, she sees there are some forces which are trying to destroy the world, and she goes to fight with them, and suddenly Mother Nature comes and holds her hand and brings her into a kind of a basement. She says, don't go there, they're very bad guys, don't go there. So she said, no, it's okay, but this is my work, I have to, no, don't go, I know what you want to create. I have beautiful things, look here, look here. So mother says, okay, what do you have? So she shows number of things, then she says, look here, there is a pink bathtub. This is a beautiful story of the pink bathtub. So she looks at it, says, yes, this is very beautiful, though it has become dirty over the years, and maybe if I clean it, I can still use it. But then she says, but this will not suffice. Something else is needed. Now this pink bathtub, the mother says, is the realizations of the past, which are biting the dust of the century, covered with dust. So nature says, there is already here, something is here, very nice. Why don't you use it and create a spiritual world? Why do you want to wage a battle, cosmic war against all the darkness? So, but she says, no, this is very nice, beautiful. It doesn't serve my purpose. She has plenty of things she shows, but only one draws mother's attention, the pink bathtub. So this is the cosmic rich poverty. This world is full of objects, things, beautiful, ugly, and all the shades in between. And we are being flooded with new things every day. Yet something is missing. That's what life is searching for. And that's the most important, crucial, critical thing. It's like when you love someone, you have everything beautiful, the whole place is lovely, it's the best possible arrangement. But if the person you love is missing from there, then you don't quite enjoy it. It's all there. And when the person you love is with you, then you may be in wilderness and it's heaven. So she's look at it. Everything is there. She's building things. And yet it is a poverty. How beautifully she will. Cosmic, rich poverty. She cajoles with her small gifts his mightiness. Please come see. Why don't you stay for a while?
Tempting.
Tempting. Holds with her scenes his looks fidelity. Holds with her scenes. Look what I have prepared for you. Okay, why don't you see this? What a touching and beautiful and sweet play this is. Aurobindo is revealing to us the play between nature and her Lord. Of course, the life force which moves nature. And woos his large-eyed wandering thoughts to dwell in figures of her million impulsed force. Look here, this. So the divine sees it, appreciates, keeps it. Then she knows now he'll go away. Okay, why don't you see this? Look what have I made. Look this, look that. And he casts a glance, appreciates, but there is something else which is yet to be born here. only to attract her veiled companion. He's hidden behind the veil, and now see what marvelous lines. And keep him close to her breast in her world cloak, lest from her arms he turn to his formless peace. Is her heart's business and her clinging care. Only to hold him close, even though he is veiled. Look at the image. They meet, they clasp and they embrace, but he is veiled and they cannot quite touch. And she wants to hold him within that circle of veil. This is the story of again Shiva and Parvati. Their love. Shiva has gone into his trance. And when he has gone into his trance, the world is at the mercy of all kinds of forces. The destroyer himself has gone, into trance. So there is a great imbalance in the world and he has to be drawn out. And all kinds of things the gods try. But Shiva is Shiva. And ultimately Parvati has to do tapasya to draw him out, and once again the marriage of the soul and nature takes place. So essentially life has to do tapasya, but that she doesn't know. She is trying with all the power that is at her,
At this
behest.
point.
At this point.
Yeah.
Later on the tapasya will come.
Yes.
But in this canto it's all about her effort and effort and effort, and her misses and misses and misses. Because the veil has to be lifted only by tapasya. So life has to become one-pointed in its pursuit for the divine. Then a veil is rent and one touches, and then what it builds is something more enduring.
And this line, yet when he
He
is most near,
she feels him
feels
far. This is reminds me of a story, because he wants to clasp, to limit. The moment you give form, it limits. Look at all the gods. Each is mighty and absolute in his own right, but he represents one aspect of the divine. So gets limited. Swami Vivekananda once, at least it's attributed to him. I don't know, lots of things nowadays circulate on WhatsApp attributing to all the great people. But that apart, this one is probably authentic because I have not read it on WhatsApp. So, so once someone asked Swami Vivekananda that what is the nature of love? And he just stretched his hand and placed a drop of water on it. And he said, look, this is love. Now, if you leave it like this, it stays. But if you clasp it, you lose it. It goes down.
How beautiful.
So beautiful. So, divine. The moment you limit him, give him a form, tell him that divine is this, it's finished. Already you have reduced him, even though it may be very high conception of the divine. That's what the mother says. He is beyond all conceptions. It's just one image. There may be something. So what we have to do with the images? They are doorways to enter into the infinite. Not for limiting the infinite into that. We do the reverse. That's the difference between true spirituality and religion. Religion limits him and therefore says this alone. All other aspects and forces are not divine. Spirituality says this is one doorway. This is the door for you. By all means, this is meant for you. And that's your unique relation with the divine. But somebody else may have another doorway. Somebody else may have another kind of relation. It's fine. But life instantly closes the hand. And instantly it loses. So when most near, he is far. Although she is ever in him and he in her, as if unaware of the eternal tie, her will is to shut God into her works.
Yeah.
This is the problem. And that's why we see, that's how ritualistic things are born. Of course, even here he's talking of life in general, in the vaster scale. Her will is to shut God. When somebody spoke to mother, I think last time also we shared, but it's worth remembering again and again. She says when you love someone and wants the person to be perfect, you basically want a personal divine for yourself. It doesn't work out like that. Exclusively personal divine, my personal property. It doesn't work like that. Either he will be or she will be a limited being for a limited play, or you have to set free. They cannot be two things. It's nothing like a personal divine at my service, at my command, at my will. So wants to shut in his own works. This beautifully shown in many stories of Shiva, but will not enter into it. And of course, Krishna, they are fantastic stories. And keep him as a cherished prisoner, that never they may part again in time. Even in Vishnu Puran, there is a story like that. There are four powers, energies in the subconscious. They do a lot of tapasya. So when Vishnu is pleased, he says, what do you want? He says, we just want one very simple thing, that you just live forever with us. So Vishnu has to obey. No choice. He's a God. Bhakta has asked. So Vishnu leaves his throne and goes and starts living with them. They love him. They take care of him. They are feeding him. They are doing this, that. Well, Vishnu is happy. He is with his bhaktas. But there is a cosmic imbalance which has to be addressed. And Shiva comes as a, there is an avatar of Shiva where he fights with Vishnu. So why he fights with Vishnu? To bring out the powers of Vishnu. So Vishnu gets up and he has forgotten himself. He has become like a, slave in that place, in that beautiful company, but he's become like a slave, losing all his powers. And then when he begins to fight, then because he is Vishnu, in his essence, all his powers emerge. And then he recognizes, oh, I am Vishnu. What am I doing here? So then Shiva tells these powers, please release him. What you are doing is not good. This we see in Sri Aurobindo's poem, Ulupi. That the release that has to be given. And keep him as a cherished prisoner. And never they may part again in time. A sumptuous chamber of the spirit's sleep. So the only way we can forever have the divine to ourselves is to discover that he is indeed always with us. This is the discovery. It cannot be done physically, that all the time physically, he should be near us. It's all the time within. That's what Sri Aurobindo gave us a clue. That what she doesn't know is that always he carries her and she carries him. It's not needed to externally clasp. And when it forgets it, then there is a problem. And if it remembers it, is wonderful.
All that is he.
Yes.
And he is the more than all that is.
All that is.
And we, though we know it not, are being of his being, conscious with the consciousness derived from his.
Beautiful. Yeah. All here,
synthesis.
Yes, all here that seems to be its lonely self are figures of the soul transcendent one. Yes. And you see, even with Divine Mother, it used to happen. People who were very near her, some of them felt that they know her, that it's they who decide. It can get into the head. And there are so many stories where Mother broke completely all the rules of the game and did something which even the nearest ones were wondering that how it has happened. Countless stories, because it's the freedom of the infinite. So, and it was to give everyone a message and a lesson. Classic story, you will read this book, I think The Living Presence. Anyway, this is a story of this young girl. Now she's no more a young girl. She's a very elderly girl, wonderful music teacher. So she came when she was very young, and they had a meeting with the mother in the evening at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. And the family went via the beach, and she got involved with all the beautiful things around. And the family would tell her that, we have to go. No, let me enjoy a little more. Young girl after all. Finally, however, they pulled her and they went. So it was already late. It was nearing 7. Mother had given darshan and gone away. So they asked Nalini. She said, no way you can meet her. Tomorrow. Take a fresh thing. Now the girl felt very bad. As they are coming, Champak Lalji. No, mother has gone to her room. Now the girl doesn't know what to do. And suddenly, Champak Lalji is gone and comes running. Mother has called you. Mother was waiting for her.
This, yes.
You must have heard this story. Yes. And so many stories like that.
Yeah.
So, these are the ways. So we cannot, even when we are physically near, ultimately we have to find the divine here. A sumptuous chamber of the spirit sleep. At first he made a deep interior room where he slumbers as if a forgotten guest. What has it built? The atomic void. Matter. Sumptuous sleep. Calls the divine sleep and he sleeps there, forgetting himself. But now she turns to break the oblivious spell, but she's not able to enjoy the full play. So she wakes up. What a lovely image. And the divine wakes up. What do you want? Oh no, we have to go out. Have you forgotten it? She's the one who lulled him to sleep, and now she wakes him. Awakes the sleeper on the sculptured couch. She finds again the presence in the form. So out of that atomic void, that sumptuous, that sculpture, that lovely bed she had prepared for him, now forms, beautiful forms. And she draws him. Look, I have made nice places. Here is a bathroom, here is a living room, here is a kitchen. Please come. So all the things. And in the light that wakes with him recovers a meaning in the hurry and trudge of time. And through this mind that once obscured the soul, passes a glint of unseen deity. So as he wakes up and passes through the rooms that life has built, something awakes, something awakens. What a beautiful image this is. Across a luminous dream of spirit space, she builds creation like a rainbow bridge between the original silence and the void. So where does she start building from? Void. And he consents to come and sleep there. That also we find in Secret Knowledge.
Yes.
He consents. That was Vasavdatta, incidentally, the play. Vasavdatta is the three poises between the soul and nature. The first poise is where the soul is a slave of nature. So the prince, the young prince, he just goes and becomes a slave of Vasavdatta. And he says, by my own will I have come. And he sleeps in the chamber which she had left for him as a slave. Then slowly, she wants to see how he looks when he's asleep. And then she falls in love. And then they wake up. And then, at the end, it is she who becomes his slave. Together they move towards a greater light, a greater heaven. So it's the story of the soul and nature and the three poises. So same thing we find here, that at first he's asleep, then he wakes up, and then she builds a rainbow bridge between the void and the original silence. This is her purpose, a rainbow bridge. A net is made of the mobile universe. She weaves a snare for the conscious infinite. Weaves a snare. The World Wide Web, the original. All kinds of forces from the dumb atom, matter, to all the layers of energies. She has built planes after planes hierarchically. In fact, even below matter, from the subconscious worlds, for him to walk. Snare for the conscious infinite. A knowledge is with her that conceals its steps and seems a mute, omnipotent ignorance. Very interesting.
Here again, very interesting.
Yeah. Omnipotent ignorance. This we can see all the time.
Yeah.
People often talk about miracles. Life indeed is a miracle. Aurobindo calls it mystic miracle, daughter of delight. Life. He defines it like this. What is the miracle about life? Everything you see. Look at a seed which grows into a tree. I mean, what perfection at each step. So many accidents can take place. But the seed of a mango will grow into a mango tree. Look at all the creatures, from the worms to the highest creatures, except man. They don't worry about their food. They were driven by a sure instinct. This is one of the very sobering experiences when people come with a lot of worries. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? It's a very sobering experience is to take them out and show this world teeming with multiple beings who are looked after, and they, everything that they need is provided for them, near them. The other day I was seeing a program on how monkeys heal themselves, and they know all the jadi booty required, all the herbs. So one particular is there is a herb called bichu booty. So if you touch it, it's like a sting of a scorpion and it becomes red and very painful. But the beauty is that next to bichu booty, you have the herb that can heal it. You just have to pluck it, rub it, and it'll heal it instantly. Now the monkeys know it. Man has discovered after a lot of, and there are many things. They know it. Life has provided omnipotent ignorance. But who will say that monkey is ignorant? Yet it manages everything that is needed for it to live its life up till its completion. Where does this power, this knowledge come from? It's within her.
And Mother says, because of the contagion of man, animals sometimes will eat poisonous things.
Yes. Otherwise they will not.
They would not.
That's why when somebody says, when I look at this world, I am compelled to say there is no God. I would rather say, when I look at this world, I am compelled to say there is God. It could not have come into being. It's just the way you look at it. If you look at the kind of, things, a might is with her that makes wonders true. The incredible is her stuff of common fact. As I said, common fact. Seed growing into a tree. Miracle. Common fact. How do we, even in human beings, you have a cut before you go to the doctor, nature has started healing. All the cells, white cells, everything will come there. It will stop the bleeding. It will start healing process. How does it happen? Body secretes chemicals which are healthy for healing. And so many things the body tries to autocorrect. And wonders true. Look at a flower. It's a wonder. Look at the pattern and design. Look at the way stars are scattered in space. Wonder. And it makes wonders true. Some flower, if you can tell us, which is extraordinarily beautiful. So many of them, I'm sure.
So many of them. And I think that Mother knew about 50 or 60 flowers from the West that we don't have here.
Okay.
And so we asked her about that. And she said, with the change of consciousness, one day they will grow here.
Wow.
And of course, she said on the north side of the Mandir, when the lake was dug, she wanted a mountain with all the soil. And she said that fir trees would grow there and one day snow would come.
I'm sure. It's already, becoming cold for sure.
For you guys.
Yeah. I mean,
50 below, 50 centigrade below.
Yeah. Alex is an exception. But I'm sure some of you who have come now, you may find it very difficult to believe that 5 years back or 10 years back, maybe slowly it has been, but last 5 years particularly, we used to have fans throughout the year. There was no question of taking a shawl or anything at night. Windows open, fans. At least I can't keep it now. I used to feel very happy that I'm in shorts and half all the time. I do wear full sleeves in the morning, shirt and full pant. And there is a chill in the air, which, was not there. So I asked somebody, what's happening with global warming? If this is global warming, then maybe something is changing we don't understand. Of course, global warming must be true. I'm sure a lot of scientists are involved in it. But we don't understand where it is leading us. No. As you said, consciousness is changing. So everything is changing, including the seasons, weather pattern, magnetic field, material environment. Everything is changing. Worlds, look at, some of these galaxies. Look at the pattern. You see Aurobindo and you look at some of these galaxies. The one we inhabit, it looks so similar.
Very similar.
Very similar. Yes. The whole city is as if planned around that. Wonder. How could you do it in vast cosmic space? And some of these constellations, they look like real beings. Orion with his belt as if a warrior is,
Yeah.
ready to fight. So it's amazing. Her purposes, her workings, riddles prove. Examined, they grow other than they were. Explained, they seem yet more inexplicable. This, again, I have often asked this question. Explained, they seem yet more inexplicable. So, with children we ask why is the color of leaves, most leaves, green? So they give a standard answer, chlorophyll. So if you write it in the exam, you get full marks. So I ask them that why is chlorophyll giving a green color? Then some will say because most are not, they have not gone, they have not been taught to go deeper. But then they say, okay, because it reflects away green, holds back the others. It's true. So why does this atomic configuration reflects away green and holds the others? Now this is something which they have not probed. So the more you go into the mystery, just a little tweaking of electrons here and there, isomers, and you will have a diamond on one side and you will have coal on the other.
Yeah.
Amazing. How does it happen? It's a wonder play.
Yeah. And a nice little anecdote about that.
Yeah.
Jyoti Priya's famous statement was, a diamond is just a piece of coal that stuck to the job.
Yes. Absolutely true. Jyoti Priya, Judith Tyberg, she was from California, and mother had given, Aurobindo had given her this
Aurobindo gave
name
her name, yeah.
and sent her there to do this work. And she marvelous lady.
The first center in America.
Yes.
And I saw a letter from mother to her, and I can only quote a little bit, first line, in fact. Mother writes to her and says, "You who have realized your soul," and then mother goes on to say that you are not all powerful until you can change everyone. Realized your soul.
I think this is a beautiful place to stop. We'll read these 3 lines and then stop. Her purposes, her workings, riddles prove. Plenty of examples in life, riddles. Some flowers, tender flowers, growing on the trunk of trees. Some huge trees bearing small fruits. Riddles proof. And yet there is a meaning and purpose. Examined, they grow other than they were. Explained, they seem yet more inexplicable. So we'll stop here.
Yeah.
We'll meet on Monday.